Everyone, welcome to another Thursday Live. Just waiting a second to make sure that we are streaming. Yeah, looks like we're streaming. It's all good. So today, the question is looking at the Wild Human series that's dropping today on YouTube and on other platforms. My question is this: can we envision a society that helps us to breed wild ourselves, to make wild humans, to make ourselves wild, if you want to think about it in those terms, rather than a society that treats us like cogs in a machine, rather than a society that treats us like animals in a cage? It's a question that's come up for me repeatedly in a different context throughout my life, and sometimes you feel very frustrated with everything that's going on. Sometimes you think that the answer to this question is like, no, we're stuck in the trap that we're in, and that's it. And when we think those thoughts, it's important to remember that all the things that we use on a daily basis, all of the things that currently exist, everything from the automobile to the refrigerator to the washing machine to these devices that we're recording each other on and sending text messages and so on through a bunch of zeros and ones, right? I mean, it's quite amazing the amount of technology that we've been able to put here. All of that was at one point just something in someone's imagination, right? It didn't exist anywhere else. So once you understand that, and you understand that, okay, in order for us to progress as a society, we actually need imagination. We need to think about what it is. Then we have to start thinking. I'm very much working at the individual level. I'm very much working with individuals who want to better their health, and who, let's be frank, who have the money to pay for my services, et cetera, et cetera. Because hey, I also need to pay myself a decent wage and my staff a decent wage, and so on, right? So those are the realities that we're living in. But would it be possible at some future point to, I don't know, to actually create societies that actually encourage the wide range of human thriving behaviors? What do I mean by that? I mean human creativity. I mean human. Um, I mean intelligence, just searching for things for their own sake. I also mean love. I mean compassion. I mean kindness. I mean all these things that unfortunately in today's world we seem kind of bereft of, right? And there are little changes that we can make. There are little policy changes that maybe some countries are making or at least considering that might be able to do something here. But at a societal level, like what would it mean to create the kind of modern societies that we have all over the world, but to create them in a way that we would let humans thrive, let humans optimize their physical, mental, emotional, spiritual well being? What would that actually mean? And I'm saying this from a point of view of like, I don't actually know. Like, I don't think there's one answer here. I can think about the things that we would need to optimize for, right? So let's make it super easy. If we're just trying to optimize for health, diet is a big part of it. So obviously, there are certain things in the grocery store, like the whole middle part of the grocery store, that maybe wouldn't exist or would be much smaller. There are other things in the grocery store that would have more. We'd have more of, right? Meat, fish, and eggs being the obvious choices. Maybe dairy, right? And that has implications also for how would people in cities, because I do think people would still choose or want to live in cities or would still have cities. How would people in cities have an understanding of where food comes from, of farms, and so on? So, and also just this question about why are we so taxed? Why are we so stressed that we don't have time to do other things, right? Why are we just going from the job to the whatever it may be, to the football game, to whatever? Why are we locked in these little cubicles? I want to call them, but or little zoo cages, if you want to think about it in that way, right? And what would a society that didn't have us locked in that look like? So, food is one part of it. Movement is a part of it. Being so tied to the office, being so tied to the job is part of it. Um, so I think these are questions that are coming up because, frankly, in my other work, and those of you who are interested in my sort of political and academic work can go and follow me on Substack. In my other work, what I'm beginning to understand is that we are at a point of crisis. Like this system will not continue for much longer, and what comes after this system, it could be much worse or it could be much better. And that is a decision that it's not going to be automatic. It's not like what we're taught history as if it's some big march, as if like you start at zero and you take step one, step two, step three. That's not how history happens. It's struggle, it's conflict. So there are forces that want to create a kind of dystopian future. In fact, maybe we're living in this dystopian future right now. Maybe what I'm describing is a kind of dystopia with us all in little cages plugged into our mobile phones and really unable to think for ourselves. Maybe we're already there. But what I'm telling you is that that's not going to last for much longer. And what comes next is really anyone's guess. So check out today's YouTube video if you like. I have, yeah, I mean, I'm really talking about how to fix things at the individual level so that we can become conscious that we're living in cages and so that we can make different decisions to have different outcomes at a personal level. But my question for all of you would be at like a societal level, what would that mean? What would have to change in order for us to, as a society, be living like wild humans? So those are some thoughts on a Thursday. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.